Tell me when you're ready.
Yeah, I'm going.
Good. All right. So for this, we're going to cut the material out now. Right now I'm using muslin.
Mm-hmm.
The machine likes thicker materials. So one layer of this sometimes doesn't work. Sometimes we have to actually double this up into 2 layers.
Mm-hmm.
And then on top of that, there's this backing material, which is just a cheap non-woven.
Mm-hmm.
This is only for making the fabric thicker
Mm-hmm.
so that it embroiders nicely, because otherwise it's not going to go. It likes thick stuff. So
Right.
I have hats over here that we did
Mm-hmm.
that, like, the hats are really thick to begin with. And then you have on top of that, you have these thicker,
Yeah.
seam lines.
Mm-hmm.
And so these thicker seam lines actually embroider really nicely because the machine likes that
Yeah,
thick.
we're doing blankets.
So that'll be good. Blankets are great. For this should be okay for now.
Put a pair of scissors.
Yes, please. Thank you. Oh my God, way better.
These are the ones I used down at the lab. That I got from work.
These are really nice.
Yeah, they cut through composites really well.
Yeah, these are little kids' Fiskars over here. They do not cut through anything very well. All right, so for now, this will be enough material. It's nice. So I'm going to right now do this for 2 layers, 2 layers thick of the muslin, and then probably 2 thick of the backing material. I think that'll be sufficient. You pop it on like this. So it goes into the machine with this hook on the right hand side.
Mm-hmm.
So whatever you embroider is going to be face up, facing like that.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to put this stuff in like that. I'm going to pop it in over. Keep it relatively tensioned. It should fit tightly down on top of it. Good, that feels actually really good. So once that's done, we check out the other side. This is ripply, this isn't good, so we're gonna kind of ease through it and kind of pull it and tighten it a little bit more from the top.
Mm-hmm.
You want it to be flat and taut, otherwise you get mistakes and it doesn't look very nice, and actually it's really crappy. So now we got it. That looks pretty nice. The back of it also could be down a little bit more. This backing material you can just tear away or throw away after you're done embroidering it, just for like the time being.
Mm-hmm.
So that looks pretty good. I like that. It feels tight. It's on there. It's not going to fall off. So for over here then, we come to this part of the machine. This part of the machine, you can see I have it set up for a bigger thing than it is.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just going to take these like lug nuts and move it over a little bit so it fits.
Mm-hmm.
This one is the next one, this is the small one. So we have a couple different frames here. We have a couple different size flat frames. So this one that we're using right now is the smallest of the flat frames that we have.
Mm-hmm.
The biggest one is the one over there by the wall.
Mm-hmm.
We have a whole bunch for in the middle too. And then if you want to do fancy things, those things over there on the table are the cap frames.
Mm-hmm.
And that lets you do baseball caps and like rounded things.
Yeah, so say how you do rounded then.
Yeah, it's.
And then I noticed that it was like, oh, that's probably what it is.
Yeah, it's different. It's different to set up. Right now, the machine is configured for flat stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It takes me a little bit to configure it out for like baseball caps.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah, we're not doing that, so
Yeah.
it's all good.
so what are the other things about this machine? I try to keep this machine set up and oiled so you shouldn't have to do any of that kind of stuff for it.
Mm-hmm.
The yarns on top of it right now, all the colors are working but black.
That's
So if you
fine.
want to use black, you can pop it in a different like loader on top, and then it'll work fine. It's just that that one for some reason does not seem to like working too well. Oh, a little bit too close there. Try one more. That one looks the right size, definitely. So the software for this actually all runs on the back. There's a computer board underneath this black thing,
Mm-hmm.
and that's all the software that the machine needs to run. The computer there only like talks back and forth to that, but essentially everything is run from this board,
Mm-hmm.
which makes it a little bit easier. Okay, so hook goes on the right hand side,
Mm-hmm.
and that should just slide in and click nicely, and then it's good. We kind of just manually pull that down if there's stuff in the back, so it stays nice and flat.
Mm-hmm.
The number here says exactly what hoop size that is, so we can look that up in the program later. Everything looks great. We're also going to check real fast that the bobbin has enough thread. So this bobbin does have thread. It runs out sometimes throughout the middle of a design, and it'll just say stop, like stop for thread break or whatnot. So to be able to replace this, you grab a new bobbin, which are up there in the little box. You put the casing in your hand. You have the hole facing up. We want this to be going counterclockwise when we place it in. So it's going counterclockwise now. We pop this directly in, and we spin it counterclockwise until it hits into that little crevice, and then we kind of roll it up through here, through that little hole, and you can pull on it. It should come relatively easily, not completely loose, but also not tight. You should be no resistance. And after it's going out from that, then we pull it up through the pigtail a couple of times, and that way we have it kind of set. It pulls nicely. It's tight, but it's not too bad. So then, facing horizontal, we pop this back into the thing. You might jiggle it a little bit, and you'll hear it go pop, and that way you know it's set and it's in the machine. So I jiggle a little, and then it's in, and it's very crisp and it's not falling out or anything. You cut this thread then to around 3 inches, and the machine will automatically take and feed that in later on. So that part's set. This stuff up here shouldn't have to be changed. Most important thing of this part of the machine is these are the tensioners, and they have to be down. If this tensioner is up and you start using this thread, it will completely jam the machine. It takes a very long time to undo. So the only way to essentially break this machine is to keep these up when you're going. So always check that they're down. Check that everything seems to be threaded through. Okay, all these look good but black, which is the one that doesn't quite work right now, that I have to go through again and figure out what's going on. But for now, we're just going to push black up so it's out of the way. Pink we have to rethread through. So for pink right now, we're going to keep that up too, unless you want to use that.
Nah, probably not.
Go through. Okay, so all of those look set. This looks set. This frame is in right. To turn the machine on, it's one tiny switch in the back, right by the power outlet. As soon as you turn that on, it should warm up and go beep beep or something relatively soon after. It doesn't seem to be turning on.
Is it plugged in?
Should be totally set up. Let's just try. Yeah, let's try it.
Oh,
There it goes. Okay, so right now it'll just recenter itself. All right, over here we have the normal software. So this is going to go through a setup process. Amaya OS is the thing that essentially gets your program to the machine and the machine running to make it. Design software is wherever you make all the design stuff and then import it. So for right now, we're going to open up the OS just in the background, and this connects to the machine. Again, the design is still stored on the machine, so this is only a way to almost like VPNing to the machine. So this is the design that will show up here that somebody had made previous for Embroidery Club or whatnot. We're going to be erasing that. We go to Design Shop Software, and so this is the software that we're going to use to make the design. The first thing you're going to go to up here is Tools, and then Hoop Setup. And then we're going to pick whatever hoop. So each one of these hoops has a number on it that corresponds to the size of that hoop, and that way the machine knows exactly what you're embroidering on so you don't do crazy stuff. So we're going to bring this down. I think this one is the round 3.51. So this is 10 to 19.
That's 17.
That's 17, so it's not. Let's go up a little bit to the 4-inch. That's it. 10 to 17. So this is the 4-inch. So we apply this hoop. Cool. And then up here on this thing, there's going to be one that says display currently selected hoop, and it's right next to the ruler one, and we click on that, and now this is our design, like our area that we can design in. Right now we only have the ability to do letters and not like more advanced designs, so we do letters. So we can pick the letter method here, we click in here somewhere, and then these are the fonts that we have available, which is a lot of great fonts, so you can go through this. There's some like design fonts and whatnot. So for right now, we're just going to go with block because that's an easy one. And we can change size of it. So we're going to do test. That should be fine. We might have to change the size down a little bit. So 0.85 so it fits nicely. Actually, we're going to select all of this. You can double click on it. And this way you can make sure it fits nicely. 0.85. Okay. There, now it fits. Now we can center this. So this dotted line says the outer bound of the design. If your design crosses over there at all, it will not embroider. and that's to prevent you from like sewing into the frame of the thing.
Right.
So you want to make sure there's a fairly decent distance in there.
Mm-hmm.
That looks good. This looks good for a simple test. You can do anything else that you want as long as it fits in here. You can put a whole bunch of stuff. So what we do now is we do a file, and we do a save as, and then desktop or any other folder you want to save it in. We can call this test, and that'll be a default is .ofm file. That's fine. So we're going to save that. And cool, we're done with the design shop software. We can minimize or close that, and then we load up the Amaya OS. So we can go to File New. Okay, so it's not going to let us do that. So we're going to do a File Load Design Wizard. We're going to scroll down to our test or whatever design that we made, previous QRSTEST. Good. And that should automatically start the design importer. So this first thing says, what is the hoop that we used? We used the 4.68. That was the one that we matched to before. That's the only spot I need to write them down on here, but you match the numbers before and you remember and it's fine. Color sequence, this is how you pick what colors you use. And you can use a whole variation of colors. It can all be the same color. We only have one color in the design right now. So we're going to clear all. So we're only using essentially one set for the entire thing. You can change that in the previous one. So right now, we're going to pick, I don't know, 8 is orange, and you can look up with the thing, and that gives you whatever. So we're just going to use orange. You can click more than you have, and it's just going to keep essentially 8 in the background, orange. Apply that. So now we've picked the colors that we're going to do. So now we go to next. And now this is the active feed and the machine speed. So the machine goes up to 2,000 stitches, 2,500 stitches, but it starts to glitch there, so I usually keep it down around 500. That seems to work well for hats and for normal stuff. So slower, but less problems. Active feed, the points is essentially how thick the material you're using is. So usually for this kind of stuff, we're really low. So I keep it at 1 or 2. Each one of these is supposed to correspond to a sheet of paper, but something with the machine is not quite right now, so I keep it to 1 or 2. And I also generally use this automatic feed, so this will give more material out if it feels it's too tight, and that way threads don't break as much. If you find you have a lot of problems, then maybe you play around with this value till you get it right. So we do a finish there, and so this is what we have. So if we center hoop, it's going to try to put this design in the center of that, which it does. Cool. So up here on the top left, this is called Trace Design, and when I click on this one, this is going to trace the outline of the design with a laser on the fabric to make sure you don't hit stuff. So I'm going to play this right now. I'll let you go over there and take a video of that part. So as soon as I hit Trace Design, it's going to start going. You can turn a laser on and go around the outside of the design, make sure it fits. As long as it doesn't hit into anything or overlap a previous design, then you're good. So over here then, we're going to go back. We're going to center hoop one more time just for sake. It's centered already. Return to origin to make sure the machine goes to the center. Good, machine's at the center. This next one is a reset design, which we already did. Display stitches sewn shows how many stitches we've done from the beginning or whatnot. And so that's a nice little handy one too. Sew out we don't use. So right now we go over here, we look one more time. One active feed point, it's an auto. We have the right hoop set up. We're going at a speed of 500. We have the design looks in the right orientation. It's not backwards or reversed. So it looks good. So we can either start the machine from over here, or more easily I like going just directly over there to the machine. Going over here, you put your 2 feet inside of this because it vibrates a little bit. We don't want it to vibrate, so I'll let you throw your feet in. Hit the green button up here. And now it's going to start. And that should be the design. Between each stitch like that, it automatically cuts them so that you don't have to go back through and cut. Sometimes it doesn't automatically cut, then you have to do it by hand, but it's not too bad. It's not too bad. Other things you want to look for while you're doing this is this thread to make sure it's not really whipping back and forth, or that it doesn't look like it's going to break, or that nothing seems to be happening with it. Because you'll be able to see a couple problems right before they happen. If you correct them, then you have no problem in the design, and you just continue on.
let's just say I noticed some kind of problem. I'll go over here.